In previous vlogs, I have already explained about language acquisition and why it's important to have early exposure to language and how it helps set the foundations for bilingual approach. Skills that are learned in the first language are transferred to the second language. If you are strong in the first language, you can be strong in the second language. But if skills are weak in the first language, skills will be weak in the second language. Early language development and exposure is important. It's not only important for linguistic reasons, but also because it's applied to school through academic skills. Hearing children, when they're born, they receive a lot of sound. They're bombarded with sounds and words. And they learn. But they don't only learn sounds, they learn about concepts, ideas, they learn about philosophy, they learn about math, and so on. Everything they hear is taken in. Which means when they start school at about age 5, they are ready for academic skills like reading and writing and math. The teachers can go ahead from where they are and teach them from there. The same is for deaf children of deaf families. When they're born, their parents sign to them, and they constantly receive visual information, and they acquire language and information by watching. They learn all the philosophy, history, and so on by taking it all in. Most of them at age 5 start school, and they are ready for school. They are ready to learn. If the school uses the first language, ASL, then they are, from their first day of school, they are ready to go forward. But if the deaf children of hearing parents who use the oral method or use C-sign as the language foundation, it won't be easy. They will not be filled with all the language and knowledge that the others have. So when they start school at age 5, they're already way behind. It means that the teachers have to spend lots of time to help catch these students up. Can they catch up 100%? Yeah, they can, but at the same time as they're catching up, other students are already getting ahead. Schools for the deaf have a variety of students there. They have mixed population. They have students who are deaf, from deaf or hearing families. We oftentimes see test scores for the school for the deaf, which are much lower compared to the public schools and the hearing children. Why do you think that is? If the bilingual bicultural education is awesome, wouldn't that mean that the test scores should be equal? You must understand that those test scores are averages. All the students in the school for the deaf, including deaf of deaf families, deaf from hearing families, it depends on the ratio of the test scores can be brought down or pulled up. Now, what if we segregated out deaf of deaf families who entered the program at the deaf school at age 5 or before, and they were exposed to sign from the time they were born, and compare them of deaf children from hearing families that did not start at the deaf school until later, and they transferred to the deaf school. What do you think would happen? What do you think the results would look like? Well, back in about 2007 or 2008, at the Cal Ed conference, Dr. Klopping announced that in the year before, all students who were in the California School for the Deaf in Fremont from kindergarten on and stayed through 12th grade through graduation, that they all passed the state high school exit exam, the graduation exam, which means they all get full diploma. This means that they can learn and at the same speed as hearing seniors. Dr. David Gesslin, who is now the superintendent of the Indiana School for the Deaf, he wrote his dissertation research at ISD, the Indiana School for the Deaf. His research shows that students who have longer exposure to the Bye-Bye program have a higher SAT score compared to those who had less time in the educational program, in the Bye-Bye program. This shows that Bye-Bye education helps language, reading, writing, and most educational development, and their SAT scores were higher compared to the national average for deaf students. So the Bye-Bye education does work. But students who transfer into the Bye-Bye schools, at the deaf schools, either late elementary school, middle school, or even high school, means their language and academic development is way behind. It's delayed. And this delay transfers and limits their Bye-Bye education. The school can only do so much help. They can only do so much. They can only help so much and try and catch them up as everyone's getting farther ahead. It's difficult. And that's why we're seeing the average of test scores at the school. It doesn't truly show the School for the Deaf what their performance is like if they're allowed to have students start at the same point as the public schools. That's why schools for the deaf, especially in Bye-Bye programs, are important to have appropriate language and academic skills. That's why we must support, encourage, and preserve, not discourage, and not allow people to force oralism and other ideas onto the program. Oralism has not been successful. Schools for the Deaf, ASL, and Bye-Bye education is the only one that has been proven to be successful and to work.